Benjamin Bloom created Bloom's taxonomy, which classified learning objectives that educators can set for their students.
Knowledge, or recalling information, is the lowest level of objectives in Bloom's hierarchy. Knowledge comprises objectives such as memorizing math facts or formulas, or verb conjunctions. Comprehension objectives require that students show an understanding of information as well as the ability to use it.
Application objectives require students to use knowledge or principles to solve practical problems. An example would be using knowledge of the relationship between temperature and pressure to explain why a balloon is larger on a hot day than on a cold day. Analysis is breaking down complex information or ideas into simpler parts to understand how the parts relate or are organized. An example would be identifying the main idea of a story.
Synthesis objectives involve using skills to create completely new products. Examples include designing a science experiment to solve a problem, or making up a new sentence in a foreign language. Evaluation objectives require making value judgments against some criterion or standard. For example, students might be asked to compare the strengths and weaknesses of two tablet computers in terms of flexibility, power, and available software.
The lowest level of cognitive rigor requires students to remember, apply, followed by analyze, followed by evaluate, and lastly, create. The highest level of cognitive rigor. Now, remember was first known as knowledge, but later revised. Similarly, understand was previously called comprehension. And lastly, the order of create and evaluate were switched. Bloom's taxonomy is actually a hierarchy, where students must first master the lower levels before mastering the higher levels. The lower levels are relatively simple levels, while the higher levels represent more complex cognitive rigor. The higher levels are more abstract as well. The first thing you want to do is consider the level of your students and the course level. A lesson for an algebra special education class will be different from an algebra advanced placement class. Aim to reach objectives for analyzing for remedial classes and evaluation for advanced placement classes.
The main critiques of this theory is that it gives a false vision of learning. Learning is not a hierarchy or a linear process. The triangle graphics give the mistaken impression that these cognitive processes are discrete, that it's possible to perform one of these skills separately from others. It also gives the mistaken impression that some of these skills are more difficult and more important than others.
Because Bloom's taxonomy is organized from simple to complex, some people interpret it as a ranking of objectives from trivial to important. However, this is not the intent of the taxonomy. Different levels of objectives are appropriate for different purposes and for students at different stages of development. For example, you want your physician to have a deep understanding of how the human body works, but you also hope she knows the names of all the body parts, medicines, and devices in her area of specialization, all knowledge level objectives.